Right, I just noticed watching back the video that you're about to watch that in my rush to record the content, I didn't properly check the fact, whether I had put my moisturizing cream in correctly. So what you may realize or notice during the video is a little blob of moisturizer just over there that wasn't rubbed in properly. I do apologize for that rookie mistake, but I just can't be bothered to record the video again. So deal with it. Cheers. Hey everyone, Elton here. So, being a member of a few groups on Facebook, there seems to be a bit of confusion with this whole traveling in Europe post-Brexit and the whole 90-day rule, etc. So, firstly, to be clear, the 90-day rule applies to Schengen zone countries. So there's a significant amount of countries within Europe that are part of the Schengen zone. And obviously the UK was part of that before Brexit, which was a lovely idea. However, there are still a few countries in Europe that are not part of the Schengen zone. So the theory is, and I say theory, practically you can do this. You could go into a Schengen country, Spain, France, Italy, etc., for 90 days. And then you could then leave the Schengen zone and go to a non-Schengen zone country for another 90 days, depending on obviously that country's visa requirements, etc. So an example that a lot of Brits that I've met do to kind of spend the majority of the winter months abroad is that they would go to somewhere like Portugal or Spain, somewhere warmer, for their 90 days and then head across to Morocco, for example, and stay in Morocco for 90 days. That then frees up their ability to come back into the Schengen zone to then depart back to the UK if that's what they want to do. Or you could spend another 90 days in Schengen zone countries and then look to, again, repeat the process and head out to a non-Schengen country. So some of the countries that are in Europe that aren't part of the Schengen zone currently include Bulgaria, Romania, Cyprus, Ireland. I'm not sure how many people in the UK are going to opt to go to Ireland, but it's one of those countries not in the Schengen zone. And obviously the United Kingdom itself. In addition to that, there are some other Eastern European countries. Now, some of these, visit at your own risk, really, I suppose. Some of them will be completely fine, I'm sure. So we have Albania, Armenia, Azerbaijan, Belarus, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Macedonia, Moldova, Montenegro, Serbia, and the Ukraine. Possibly those last two, you might want to just give it a few years. Again, it's up to you. What brings kicks to your life, I guess. If you fancy a bit of gunshots in your direction, I'm sure Serbia and Ukraine are places you might want to visit. For me, as a solo traveler, I prefer to stick to countries that aren't currently at war, and where my safety is a little bit more guaranteed, I suppose. My thrill-seeking days are behind me. But yeah, as I say, most of the people that I've met on my travels who are full-time van lifers or, doing this for a prolonged period of time, that is... sorry, I'm just noticing my third eye is growing out. So, yeah, excuse that. So as I say, the most of the people that I've met so far who are doing, are van dwellers or van lifers or whatever you want to call it, for a prolonged period of time, that's typically their tactics is spend 90 days in a Schengen country and then head off to one of those countries I've just mentioned, which are all in Europe, except for Morocco. As I say, Morocco is another option because it's quite a quick ferry from Spain, I believe, over to Morocco, and it's very cheap in Morocco, I understand. I've not personally been. It is on my list of places to go and visit, and I'm going to look at what other Northern African countries I would feel safe visiting on my own, and perhaps spend a little bit of time in Africa, North Africa, because obviously I'm from South Africa originally. But apparently, yeah, Morocco is very cheap. So I had a chat with someone recently, a co-worker, when I was working for the club, who go to Morocco pretty much every winter, and she was saying that, you know, a pitch on a site with electric hookup and, you know, facilities and entertainment on site and everything like that, you're looking at about £2 a night. Okay, you know, with inflation and things, I don't know if Morocco has been impacted by the cost of living crisis as we are here in the UK, but let's assume that that's gone up to £5 a night. You know, you just can't compare that with what you pay here in the UK. I've noticed that a lot of the sites that were, you know, last year, I was able to get a lot of options regarding sites with electric hookup for £15. Grass only sites with no electric hookup for £10. Now, this year I've been looking, it's very rare to get anything under £20, even on the small little privately owned certified locations and certified sites. So things have definitely gone up. But, you know, if you assume £5 a night in Morocco on a site with all the facilities you need and entertainment and everything else, at £5 a night, that's what, £150 a month. You can't compare it, you know, and it's yeah. So the point being, you know, there's a lot of misunderstanding that I see on these Facebook groups where people think they have to come back to the UK after 90 days in the Schengen zone. You don't have to. There are ways that you can, as I say, play the system. It's really not playing the system. It's nothing illegal about it. But, you know, obviously some of these countries you may well need visas for. So, you know, make sure that you've got the visa while you're in the Schengen country on your 90 days allowance. You know, maybe give yourself a month or so before you're going to go to Morocco or Bulgaria or wherever you decide to go, to get the necessary visa to allow you to cross into that country. I think most countries have a 90-day visa that you can get. So, but again, you know, check into each country, check what the visa requirements are, check how long those visas are valid for, etc., how long you can stay at any one time, because obviously what you don't want to do is spend 3 months in Schengen, go over to Bulgaria or somewhere and find you can only stay there for 30 days and then forced back into the Schengen zone, at which point you're going to be breaking the rules. So yeah, do your homework, do your research. But, you know, the point that I just wanted to make here was that it is feasible. So I'm just going to do a little bit of advertising. It is feasible and manageable to stay in continental Europe and North Africa for longer than 90 days. And a lot of people do it. You know, you can't even, I mean, depending on how far you want to travel, you can go to Russia if you really fancy a challenge. But yeah, right. Well, I hope that was provided some insight into this whole nonsense after Brexit. Any questions, pop down in the comments below. And as always, please do subscribe, folks. You know, your support, it really does mean the world to me and kind of brings me a little bit of company on the road while I travel. So yeah, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button to be notified of new videos, and I'll see you on the road. And as always, be happy, be safe, and be kind. Cheers.